Everyone talks about freedom, but most people don't even know what it is. Social media would have you believe that freedom is being rich, or sometimes you'll see homesteaders and they have an idea of what freedom, and they show you what they call freedom. So it's a brand of freedom, and they're all different brands, and some of them are right and some of them are wrong. To me, living free isn't about doing whatever I want. It's about waking up and knowing that today is mine and that it belongs to me and I'm responsible for it. And that not only am I responsible for it, but I know that I'm going to make the best of that day. And then I know that I have done all I can do to be in a place where it is mine. I've set my life up to be in such a way where I am free of the rules of the world to some degree. People around me tell me that I should have a nicer truck. People tell me I should have had a house a long time ago, even though most of them don't know that I did have a house and sold it. People tell me that I should do this and I should do that, or I should have a white picket fence. There's always a different story to freedom. Some people tell me that I shouldn't own anything, that I should have all of my money into other types of assets, and I shouldn't own property or own a house at all. Everyone has their own idea of freedom. This is my idea of freedom. So to me, freedom is I have chosen to set life up under my own terms. I've chosen to do it in the way that suits me. I often think about what would we do as people if we lived in a cave by ourselves and no one else could see, no one else could be impressed by our life. Let's say we drove a truck and we chose between two different trucks, and we still had to pay the money for both trucks. But at the end of the day, we drove that truck on an island where no one was. So we had to pay hard-earned money for that. But no one could see it. Most, if not all, would choose the very practical, bland truck or car or whatever made the most sense. Probably a truck on an island. The point is that, and there's nothing wrong with driving a nice vehicle. That's not what I'm getting at. There's nothing wrong with having that white picket fence. There's nothing wrong with having a nice life or having a house that everyone can see on a hill. But it's oftentimes, especially as young men, we tend to get our ducks out of line. We think to ourselves, well, I want this nice truck so that everyone will be impressed with me. Instead of thinking in terms of, well, what do I really like, or what is really my best step? I drive a small truck and I own a big truck. I own two trucks. And I save good fuel mileage, and I save tires, and I save a lot of things driving that truck. But I drive it mostly because it's comfortable, not necessarily because of saving money. It's because I actually enjoy driving it. But if I had to ask other people, or if I was trying to impress a girl, I would probably drive something a lot more snazzy. So to me, freedom is truly understanding why I do something and really coming down to the core of what is it that I really want? What is it that really makes me happy? Sometimes we spend all of this time and money trying to do something, and we think it's what we want. We find out that it's not. Freedom to me is being able to wake up and be free to praise God every day. And I'm so thankful for that because there are so many people in other countries that are not able to do that. Freedom is being able to live in a place where I can take care of my wife and give her the best life that I can. Freedom is having a home that's paid for that I don't have to worry about someone coming and getting. Freedom to me is being able to decide what really works for me. There's a lot of things that in life that don't work. I like the fact that I can have a storage of meat in my freezers. I like the fact that I can raise cattle and I can raise ducks on my pond and I can raise my own food. I like the fact that I'm free from the system of, well, I have to buy grain. First, I have to buy fertilizer and fertilize a field, and then I have to buy grain. You know, somebody has to fertilize a field, they have to pay for that, and then they have to pay for the grain. Somebody else has to pay for the grain, and then that grain goes into you or me, or it goes into a cow, and then somebody else has to pay for that meat. I like the fact that I can raise an herbivore and I can do it completely on my own. I'm completely free and independent. I have a piece of pasture and I put a sheep on it. And it's not even got to be perfect pasture. And I can raise that meat for myself. And I'm not depending on anyone else. I'm just depending on that one single acre, maybe just an acre or half an acre. I put a handful of sheep and I raise those sheep, and I have a handful of chickens or ducks and I raise those eggs on a system that's completely designed around itself. That's one reason why we started our farm, regenerative agriculture. Freedom isn't money, it's ownership of time. Freedom isn't escape, it's alignment with who you are. Most people are running through the week and waiting for the weekend, are running through their work and waiting for permission to be free. Most people are running in their life and they need to run from their life, or they need a vacation from their life. I decided a long time ago that freedom to me was to figure out how to not need a vacation, how to not need to escape from my life. And as a result, some people think that, well, you could be living more. You could have more. You could be richer. You could be growing faster. And those same people that say that to me, they don't look free. They don't look like that they know what freedom is, or that they understand what freedom is. They look like that they still need a break from the life that they call freedom. Yes, you should be growing. And yes, you should be investing. And yes, you should be working hard. I'm not advocating laziness. We do work hard. And sometimes that is the sacrifice of freedom, is the hard work that we put in. Because this life that I've chosen, I still have to get up early. And there's still days that I have to stay up late. But ultimately, it's around a life that makes me feel free. It's around a life that is something that I want. I raise fruit trees to provide food for me that I know is clean and healthy. I raise livestock that I know is healthy and I know is clean. Those things are freedom to me. The freedom that the internet guru would like to sell you is a freedom of passive income or riches that, as hard as you strive for, you can't seem to obtain. The freedom I'm speaking of is a different type of freedom. And that doesn't mean that it can't include investing or include things that could make your life better over time. That means that it's freeing your mind. It's you actually understanding what you want instead of everyone else telling you what you want. I know people that are completely content to live in the downtown loft of a small town. That's all they ever want. Go down to the local coffee shop, they read their books, and they do things that they enjoy, and they've paid themselves off. They have no debt. They enjoy a small car. Many times they walk back and forth to where they need to go. But because of that, they're free, and they don't have to have any specific job. They can take the job they want. They can go wherever they want. There's a sense of freedom there. Now, that's not exactly what I want. Some parts of that sound good and some parts of it don't. But the part that aligns, that we can both align with, is that we have found our freedom. So stop looking at everyone else's freedom. Stop looking at somebody else who has freedom, who has something that looks appealing on the internet and sounds like what you should have. And figure out what freedom means to you. Maybe it is the same as what I've got here. Maybe it's the same as what somebody else has got here. But regardless of what it is, figure that out. Figure out what it is that has made you free, or that will make you feel free. And work towards that goal. Understand that freedom is not laziness. Freedom is not you sitting down and doing nothing. Most of the time, everything that is good and everything that feels good and everything that truly brings peace involves some type of work. Remember that. So when people look at me and they see me living a life, and in some ways it doesn't look like something that would align with them, or doesn't look like freedom to them, or doesn't look like the white picket fence perfect life that they think I should be chasing, I'm not sure what it is that they're hoping to see. But I know that for me, even if I don't get that perfect white picket fence, I would rather be living a life of work, doing something that I want to do, and never quite achieve what some would call perfection, than I would to put in place and hurry up and get to a certain status that others think I should be at. This isn't just what I do. This is who I am. And every day I get a little closer to it. It's not like I've just found the perfect freedom. But every time, if I get sick, or if I get down, or it's hard for me to do something, like I hurt my shoulder recently, and I get to where I'm forced to slow down and not do as much. This is right where I want to be. And it makes me so grateful that this is what I have. And every time I think of retirement, and I think of what it would be like, what I would like to have in retirement. Some, they want to think about traveling, going to Mexico and Ireland, and those are beautiful places. But every time I think about retirement, this is what I think about. I think about having an orchard that I can go through, and I think about having clean food. I think about having my deer orchard up on the hill that attract deer that come in, and I don't have to put out corn for them. They're just there. I think about being able to see the birds and being able to see the land here, and I think about being able to take a walk with my wife down here to the pond and fish. To me, those things are freedom. Now, that might not be your brand of freedom, but if you understand what your brand of freedom is, then you can slowly start to build that. And don't get stuck on what one brand of freedom is. Sometimes you think that you want something, and it's okay to decide over time that that's not exactly what I wanted. I thought it was, and that's not exactly what I want. Because part of freedom is deciding that's not exactly where I was hoping to be, or that doesn't quite align with what I was hoping it would, or that doesn't quite feel right. So this is part 3 of a 5-video series of the independent man. And all of these are me telling you my principles, the things that make the independent man, the things that make me who I am and have made me who I am. And this is one of my principles, and that is that I want to live free, and my goal is to be free and to teach others how to truly be free. Now, there's a lot more on this subject, and we'll speak more on it in other videos. There is freedom of country, there is freedom of choice, and there is freedom of being able to raise all of the things that we want to be able to raise, and there's a lot of things that we could expand on. But if this looks like freedom to you, then maybe you're not all that lost. So consider subscribing. Thank you.